Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today, as we're waiting for some parts to come in for some other projects, I'm still waiting on them capacitors to come in for the Decca radiogram. I thought, and to be honest I couldn't really resist, I thought we would have a quick play with the old Sam Coupé. Since I've got it, it has literally just sat in its box. I've not had time really to do anything with it, so I thought today, since I've got a couple of spare hours, I would knock a power supply up for it and would see what it can actually do, see what actually works on it and what doesn't. So basically what I've done is I've got this, it's an old PC ATX style power supply, and it's actually what I used to use with for testing the old black Spectrum plus 2As and plus 3s. It's basically what I did is I wired a connector on the back of it, the 5-pin DIN connector, wired for the Spectrum. Now the Sam uses exactly the same 5-pin DIN connector as the black Spectrum plus 2As and plus 3s, but don't, whatever you do, plug a Spectrum power supply straight into a Sam, because you'll blow it up. As though it uses the same connector, the wiring on it is completely different. So what I did is basically I just took the plug apart on this and I rewired it to the Sam specification. I managed to find the pin out easily enough online. In fact, there's loads and loads of information online for these Sam Coupés. I've got the schematics for the disk drive interface and quite a few other bits and bobs. A memory expansion which I'll be hopefully making for this thing, and I'm going to have a go at making a disk drive interface, at least in the meantime, until an original disk drive does eventually show up at a not insurmountable price. Some parts for these do seem fairly cheap. I mean, I think you can still pick up like the modulators and it's a power supply modulator combined reasonably cheaply. When they do turn up, I don't think they sell for a huge amount, so we'll look out for an original one eventually. Interestingly, actually, I remember it must have been back in the late 90s. It would have either been Display Electronics or Bull Electronics. In the bargain bins, they actually had loads and loads of Sam Coupé power supply modulator units. I think they were selling them off for like £5 for £5 or something like that for hobbyists to reuse the cases and the electronics inside them for projects. So that's obviously what happened to all the surplus Sam Coupé stock when these things, when the company went belly up. Well, a few years later, anyway. Like I said, they ended up in one of the surplus places. I always remember seeing them and wishing that they'd actually had the Sam Coupés as well. Anyway, like I said, I've hooked some power up to this thing. I've also managed to dig out a SCART cable for it. It's the most, I don't know if you can see this here, it's the most like ridiculously overkill SCART cable imaginable, and it's been in a drawer for so many years it's actually gone hard. I can't actually unbend it out of that shape, but fortunately it's just long enough to connect to my little SCART switcher there. So without further ado, I thought what we'd do is we get this thing powered up and actually see what it does. So I'll get you on the screen there. We'll power up. A nice display of colour, and there we go. We've got Miles Garden Technology PLC, copyright 1990, Sam Coupé 256. So it is the baby Sam Coupé. This it's only the 256K machine. So, which is what it said on the listing when I actually bought this thing. But that's no problem. It's actually dead easy from what I can see and what I've looked up online to make a little RAM module that plugs inside it and gives us the full 512K that these things are capable of out of the factory. I mean, I'm sure I've seen one interface or a design for an interface online that gives us things like 4.5 megabytes, but perhaps for the future, like I said, for now, I'm happy just having the Sam that actually powers up and works. When I say powers up and works, it powers up. It's not in full working order, as we can see. The keyboard 1 works, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, minus, star doesn't work, delete doesn't work, tab Q doesn't work, W doesn't work, E, R, T, Y works, U works, I works, O, P, equals works, little quotation marks doesn't seem to work, no, A works, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, B. So it's like half the keyboard works, half the keyboard doesn't work. Spacebar works. Control. I don't know. Some of the obviously some of the keys I'm not going to be able to test because I'm not actually sure what they do. Like the F keys, I don't know if you can use the arrow keys just in this basic. Does return do anything? I don't know. But we've definitely got keyboard issues anyway. So let's shut off. And I knew that when I bought the computer that it had some problems with the keyboard. So I'm sure this is what everyone's interested in anyway. Let's get inside it and have a look. Actually, what's inside the old Sam Coupé. So turn the monitor off. I'll unplug the power from it. We'll just get that out of the way for now. Unplug. This is what I mean. Look. It literally is. It's like kind of formed into that shape. It just won't really straighten out anymore. So I think I'll have to find a different SCART cable. But anyway, let's get that out of the way and let's. In fact, I wonder if it would be better if I send you a little bit higher and bring you down like that. Can you see that a little bit better now? Let's get you a bit closer in. There we go. You can see that. Right. Well, we've got a magic screwdriver, so let's be sensible. I know this sounds daft. I'm just going to stick my anti-static strap on, being that there are some custom chips in here that I think if I killed them, I would kill the Sam. Oh, them screws are tiny. Dear me, they didn't give you much in the way of thread on them, did they? I'm wondering if that's a screw as well. Let's see. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Right, now hopefully let's have a look inside here. Alright, how do I... Okay. Just disconnect the ribbon cables very gently. There we go, that's free. I'll just stand that up to one side for the moment. Should be okay up there for now. And let's have a look at the main board. Now what I will say is there's a hell of a lot of corrosion on that edge connector there that the keyboard goes into. It couldn't be that simple, could it? It couldn't just need that cleaning, could it? We'll certainly give it a try, but there is an awful lot of corrosion. That one looks okay, that one looks nice and clean, but that one does look somewhat green on there. So I will try giving that a clean and and see if that brings back the missing keyboard connectors. I can't believe how simple it is in here. There's literally nothing to it at all, really, is there? That's the ROM. So we've got a ROM there. I'm guessing we've got the CPU there. It's a gold star part and it's marked Z8400B. So I'm guessing that's the CPU. We've got this VLSI chip, and that's basically the entire rest of the computer is just that one VLSI chip there. And I'm pretty sure if that went bad, I don't think we'll be able to get a replacement for that. Apart from that, we've got our 256K of RAM, there. So they, I'm guessing, is 256k by 4 bits DRAMs. Siemens ones at that. We seem to have a little bit of that's a I think that's a video encoder IC. I'm not sure what that is there. And that again, I think it's audio or video related. So basically, you've got a video portion round there. I'm not sure what that is there, but then everything else is pretty much that. So it's that VLSI chip there is, apart from the CPU, that is basically the entire computer just on one chip. I was expecting, to be honest, like I say, I've seen pictures of the boards and what have you in these, but it never quite dawned on me how sparse they were and how little there is in one of these things. It's version 1.1. Miles Guard Technology, Sam Coupé, 1989. So I presume that ROM might be a slightly updated ROM, being that it actually says on the screen that copyright 1990. Interesting. Let's have a, in fact, let's get the contact cleaner and some cotton buds out, and we'll just have a really quick little clean of that contact up there. I think I need some cocktail sticks to do this. The cotton bud as well. But it does look quite tarnished and green in that slot there. Give it a go. You can't really get in that much with a cotton bud on these. I don't want to risk. Oh, I don't know. I wonder if I could get a little piece of card or something and shove it in there. That might work. I forgot that it would work for that. I don't want it. Piece of paper folded, maybe. That shouldn't be too thick. You don't want to go mega thick. You don't, like I said, you don't want to risk straining the contacts or anything. But they're really quite icky in there. In fact, that one there looks like it might have broken off. I don't know. Certainly, like I said, they look definitely tarnished. If I can get my little scrubbing brush in there and give them a scrub. Where is it? Ah, there it is. The advantage of this is you can get right into the contacts with it, and it's soft enough to hopefully not do any damage, but hot, bristly enough to remove any tarnishing. There we go. That does look a little on the better side. Yeah. Not expecting to find any green corrosion like that. The type of corrosion you associate with battery leakage, but there is no battery on here. Clean room where I've worked. It's not dirty in here, I will say that. Actually, it is reasonably on the clean side. Let's give that one a quick going over while we're in here. So that didn't look quite like as tarnished as that one did, but that seems to have got all them little green deposits off anyway. I don't think I will be that lucky. I can't be that lucky that it was just a bad contact on there. Where's my roll gone to clean that off with? Ah, there it is. Just give round there a little quick clean while we're in here. There we go. Right, let's put that to one side for a second. Let's have a look at the back end of these connectors here. And give them a really gentle little clean, but they don't look horrendous. In fact, I wonder if we could just pop the keyboard out, and we can have a look at the keyboard out of the case. There we go. So there's the keyboard unit. It's a bit dirty in there, so it will definitely need a good going over and a good clean. What we might do, we'll give them contacts a very gentle clean. We don't want to go mad. Use a cotton bud. We'll put a little bit of, in fact, we'll put a little bit of isopropyl on a cotton bud, and we'll give them a really gentle little clean with some isopropyl. Let's try spinning that over. That side a little. It really is just a quick test just to see whether we can get lucky with this. I'm not holding out that much hope that that's actually going to fix it. Like I said, we probably will have to just get a new membrane for this, but it's worth a try in the interim. Oh, gives us a nice opportunity to get all the crud out of there as well. I can see with this, it really hasn't yellowed too badly, this one. If you look at the original plastic there, and then you look in the keyboard slot in there, there's a little bit of yellowing on it, but it's not horrendous. I think this probably will end up going in the bath and getting a really good scrub and a clean eventually, but for the time being, that's got all the dust out of there. We'll put the keyboard back on. Oops. Try not to trap the cables we've just cleaned and serviced. Get them back in. Get in there. One thing to know about the SAM, I've been, doing a little bit of research. Oh, sugar lumps. Let's try that again, shall we? That's how I should have done it in the first place. Lay it down and then just fed these through. There we go. That's better. No, what I was looking at was when these first come out, the disc drive apparently was actually an option at first. Apparently in later ones they made the disc drive just standard. I think that was when they realised that they'd pretty much finished and they just wanted to shift as much stock as possible. But if that's the case, how did software come with it? Didn't come on disc? Did you get tapes for the Sam Coupé? Could you load from cassette or something like that? It would be interesting to know, because if there is, I could try and hunt down some software on cassette and get that loading on here before I've built my disc drive interface, because I really want to get some software up and running and loaded up on this thing and actually give it a test, a proper test. Right, let's bring this back in, and we'll try connecting this back up. Like I said, I'm not holding out too much hope that that's going to have fixed it, because it's rarely that easy. But that did look quite tarnished. That that first contact in there, that's one in. Let's get the other one back in. I'm probably going to put the screws back in this at this point anyway, because I don't want to lose anything. That's back in there. So that's the keyboard reconnected. Yeah, I think I'm going to bang the screws back in, because if this doesn't work now, we're not going to be doing anything else with it for the time being. I just was curious to have a quick look inside it and see what was actually in a SAM. And to tell you the truth, very, very, very little. It is actually amazing the amount of integration they've got in this thing. Far more than I was expecting to see anyway. I was expecting to see a few more ICs than that. We've pretty much got ROM, RAM, CPU and everything else apart from the analog electronics for the video is on that one VLSI chip. I don't think that one felt right in there. That screw doesn't go in there. Trust it to have one screw which is slightly different, or that screw's been changed in the past. That screw fits in there. And that one goes in there. There we go. Right, let's give this another quick let's give this other thing another quick try, shall we? Got the power. Power amp. Let's find that ridiculous SCART cable again. We'll have to have a hunt round, see if I've got a slightly thinner SCART cable somewhere. I'm sure I've got some in the cellar somewhere. Because this is ridiculous, it's overkill. Right, that's that plugged back in. Let's switch the monitor back on and I'll bring you back up onto the screen. And we shall see if that's made any difference to the keyboard. Well, it still powers up anyway, that's a good thing. I'll just have to fiddle with the screen again because it's doing its daft. It's doing its daft thing at the moment. Just try. That's close enough, that'll do. It's on anyway. So one. No, them keys still don't work. So it's probably a some corrosion or something on the actual. It's actually probably some corrosion actually on the membrane inside there. I have seen it repaired in the past using that little that silver contact paint, where you find the break in the membrane and you paint some of that little silver contact paint on and fix it that way. But to be totally honest, I think I'm just going to go out and get a new membrane for them. They're not horrendously expensive. They're from last time I looked, which were a couple of weeks back when I first was looking at buying this. I think they were about £25 for a new keyboard membrane. Unfortunately, it's going to have to wait for a few weeks because I'm a little on the light side cash-wise at the moment. I wasn't intending to buy this, and it did kind of come at exactly the wrong time financially. But these don't turn up that often. When they do turn up, people ask silly money for them. I said this was it was still expensive, and don't get me wrong, you know, it wasn't like I paid a tenner for it or anything. It was quite expensive, even in this condition, but it was at a price where I could kind of pseudo justify buying it, knowing that once I got it right, it was quite a sought after and desirable computer, and otherwise there's no way I'll be having one in my collection. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I say, it was just a quick video, this, just to show it actually powered up, and a quick sneak peek inside it, and have a quick look what's inside a MGT Sam Coupé, which turns out to be very, very little at all. I can't believe it's pretty much entirely, apart from, like I said, the RAM, the ROM, the CPU, it's all on that one VLSI chip. That's quite impressive. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed that little view inside here. So, thanks for watching and goodbye.